All right, and National Novel Writing Month 2020 Inspiration Session. And
okay, let's fly. Okay.
And did you see the change on the books?
Yeah, recommended 2 books,
Yep.
The No Plot, No Problem, and the Pep Talks for Writers, both from people that either were or are involved with National Novel Writing Month. And both good.
I love my rejection slips. They show me I try, by Sylvia Plath. Submitting and rejecting is kind of par for the course for authors.
Yeah, I've been reading the book Writing Without Rules, and he talks quite a bit about rejection slips in there, and how we know we've all heard like how many times was like A Farewell to Arms, or Ernest Hemingway's first big novel rejected before finally somebody accepted it.
Well, and then Stephen King's Railroad Spike in the Wall, full of rejection slips.
Yeah, I don't know where the background is. To see Susie's note, but it's not coming from me.
Oh, it might be me. Give me just a second. Better?
Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Okay. Okay, I got the background noise killed.
We're learning lots doing this.
All right, and
viewing a recent TED Talk, the speaker said we need 3 things to write a novel: place, time, and condition. Let's apply this to Nano. Place, an office, a desk, or just our own place at a table?
I have written sitting on the bed with a little lap table, in the car with my notebook propped against the steering wheel. Make your space work for you.
I know all of last year, and probably again most of this year, I wrote sitting on my couch with my laptop in my lap. Fortunately, I got one of those little desk things now, so it doesn't get so hot on my.
Right. Yeah, I've done that.
Plus, it doesn't slide around so much either with that. It has a little sticky. So that's, if you need one, they're out there. Yep. And I think Gary he just attached it to my laptop with a Velcro, so it doesn't come off. I don't just have to set it on the desktop. It's actually stuck to the desktop.
Oh, that hadn't occurred to me. That would be great.
Yeah, that works real well. And I know I can get it loose, I'm pretty sure, but it that way it doesn't slip because he Velcro.
Doesn't accidentally do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The time is
November.
The month of November. And I think I actually went and got November 2020 calendar. As you can see, the first is on Sunday. So we are ready. Conditions, 50,000 words or 1,667 words per day.
And since the first is double up day, we're looking at 32, or actually it's, oh, I can't remember the math.
It would be about 3,300 words.
Yeah, it's about 30. I was going to say 3,250. So roughly we're in there.
We're in there. Yeah. Yeah. If you can add, you've got a calculator handy, multiply 1,667 by 2, and then you'll know how many words is a double up for that day.
And I personally like to double up on weekends every weekend.
It's usually just on the weekend that they have the double up donation. Of course, we aren't starting to write until the 1st, so we really only have that day that we're writing. But exactly. I don't know.
But yeah, but out of habit, if I double up my words on the weekends, if something happens on a weekday and I don't get them in, I have a cushion.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, and I always think it's good, oftentimes you're very enthused at the beginning. And so it's good to get that first 10, 12,000 words written in that first week or so or more. Maybe it should be more than, well,
Get as much
10,000
early as
10,000 words would be, but anyway, to get a lot of words written that first week. And then if you kind of have a sag, and then of course, well, this year, I don't know how people's holidays are going to work, the Thanksgiving. I'm not obviously going to make a big dinner. I did tell my daughter I'd make pies, so I guess I'll be doing that. But yeah, it's, if you're going to be busy with some other things or whatever, if you, like you said, double up on the weekend, if that works for you, or maybe there's another day that works better, or try to get ahead at the very beginning. Probably if you did a double up day once every week, that would help, or on the weekends, do it both Saturday and Sunday, do a double up day, right?
And since my conference in November was canceled this year, I don't have to worry about making up that time.
That's right, you don't, do you?
Nope.
Are they doing a virtual? That's one of the things I was going to ask. Are they doing a virtual meeting?
Nope.
Nope, they're not doing anything, huh?
Nope. Okay. Just putting it off till next year and looking for epic speakers and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. I know I kept thinking I'd ask you about that.
Like your bedroom, your writing room should be private, a place where you go to dream, a space you can be humble. And it really needs only one thing, a door you are willing to shut. Stephen King. Now, this image came from Authors Published, but this is actually out of his on writing.
Yeah,
where he also says, write with the door closed, edit with it open.
Yeah, he's big about being in a place. Of course, I think sometimes, and maybe everybody can't do that, but sometimes it's a mental door you can shut, because I think I can sit on my couch and the TV can be on and a football game can be on, and I cannot hear a thing of what's going on in the football game and be writing away. So maybe it's sometimes it just takes that mental door to be
and
shut.
much a mindset of you write with the story in mind, not anyone else's thoughts, what anyone else might think. Now edit with other people in mind, but you write with the story in mind.
Right, especially for Nano, when you're trying to write as much as you are. It's just think about your story and write as much as you want and include anything you want, and then you can go back and edit it later or
Yep.
add to it, whichever. Edit out, add in.
Yep. Know your process. If you can't crank out 1,667 words in a sitting, me either. Find out what you can write comfortably and make that your goal for each writing session. During NaNoWriMo, that might mean more than one writing session per day.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're saying here. If you sit down, if you can't sit long enough, or you can't get that 1,677, 600, anyway, words out at one sitting, then do half that, and then later in the day or evening or whatever it works, sit down and write some more. And sometimes I think that happens. You can get stuck, and sometimes if you go away and think about something else. And I love this picture I found. This is E.B. White, and he's writing in his boathouse. I thought he found a unique office.
It is, with no distractions, right?
Doesn't look like it. I mean, unless there's motorboats out there that we can't see, but it looks like it's a pretty quiet place.
For me personally, 1 or 2 or sometimes 3, it's usually 2 or 3 1-hour sessions will get me that 1,667.
You write pretty fast though, so it depends on, some people type fast and some people don't. But how fast you type. I think it's always helped me when I talk about making an outline, but not necessarily a big outline, but I get done at the end of the day with I'm as far as I feel like I can write, whether it's 1,667 words or it's a couple thousand words or whatever. and I don't want to write anymore, but I sit down and maybe kind of make an outline of where I think I'm going, or think about where I'm going, and then write those things down as just as bullet points for that matter. And then when I come back to write the next day, I've got that to spur me on.
Got a place to start with bullet points for the next day.
Yeah.
Don't write because you want to say something. You write because you have something to say. And that was F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah. All writers has something to say about writing. So maybe someday one of us will have a good quote.
Possibly.
Susie's asking, do we write at the same time each day? Pretty much. I think last year I did most of my writing in the afternoon, which I've always thought was strange for me because I felt like I've always been a morning person, but somehow these days it seems like I don't get to the routine in my day until 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon. And I think last year that's when I did most of my writing for Nano.
Most of what my writing right now is happening at my lunch hour at work. I get an hour, so I sit down and make best use of that time and then come back later.
And that's kind of what you're going to be having to do, right? Unless you do a lot of writing on the weekends.
I'm going to be doing both, writing on the weekends, writing on my lunch hour, writing after I get home. Yep. Okay.
Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it. I thought these were all good points for Nano. Don't tell me I don't know where I found them, but
it makes sense.
I mean, we're all here because we want to write and feel like we have the ability. And of course, I always think Nano is a good motivation. And then you just have to, I think, keep that attitude. Don't let the fact that even if you're not making it to the 50,000 words, don't let that destroy your attitude, because even if you get, like we've always said, if you get a 25,000 or 30, at least you have something and you have written and you can write.
Yeah. Okay. And almost everyone can remember losing his or her virginity. And most writers can remember the first book he or she put down thinking, I can do better than this. Hell, I am doing better than this. What could be more encouraging to the struggling writer than to realize his or her work is unquestionably better than someone who's actually got paid for his or her stuff?
Yeah, I always remember, well, I can remember when I lost my virginity, but we won't talk about that. I can remember the first time I think it was one of Scott Turo's book. It was his first one I really thought was great. I think I read the second one and it was okay. I got to the third one and I thought, I can do better than this, or at least I can do as good as this. And here he was out there published, he's still getting his books published. So
Yep.
That was when I remember thinking that, I can do better than this.
I've had several, I can do this. This is, I've got better stuff than this. And at that point in time, I wasn't really writing. I've had several stories that I read and going, that was okay, but it would be even better if. Yeah,
I've had a lot of those, and I still read books, and I think they're not that great. I get done and I think this was a matter of fact, I just finished one that it was a great idea, I think, but I don't think it was executed very well. If that makes any sense. And I actually went and downloaded his second one to see if he does better in his second book than I felt like he did in his first. So
one of those, it would be better if ideas, and turned it into my own series.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and I've read some other writers that I really have enjoyed their work. And they are published, but they aren't very well known. And I don't know why, because I think they're pretty damn good writers.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Not the right marketing behind them.
Maybe, I don't know. It could be the thing. They're not pushing it enough. I know every time I see them come out with something new, I will usually, go and buy it. Usually buy it as ebooks, but ebooks work too.
Yep.
Susie asked a question. So could their voice be better? The one I just finished reading that I'm talking about, I thought it could be better. It wasn't his voice. It was more the way he put the book together, and some things that just seemed kind of weak, in the story. It'd be hard to I don't know, maybe it would be hard to explain. Of course, it was a problem because I was reading it as an ebook and it wasn't formatted well. So it was a mess. It was all over the page. So it made it hard to read. But still, I thought it was, the idea was good. It was about, and of course, I read one review of it that said, this seemed kind of stupid. The idea was they were buying up people's life insurance policies from them, so they could, so the person could have, they were going to die. They had cancer or something else, that terminal illness, and so they had these life insurance policies, and the companies would buy them for less than their value would be when they died, and so they could do something with the money. Then this company was actually killing them before they died so they could get the money sooner, which, and when I thought of it later, it was a little bit of a crazy idea, but
Okay, but not.
I mean, not completely, but the thing is, I have life insurance policies, and I know I can go to the company and get the face value, the value of that policy right from them, and they're not going to, not going to kill me for it.
So, okay, in his book.
Did we lose you? Melissa, you still there? Maybe we're having a problem with our connection today. Yeah, where are you? That's what I'm saying. Where are you, Melissa? I wonder if she got... You can hear me, but we can't hear Melissa. Okay. So I'm a little, see if she comes back here. Okay. I don't. Hello, Melissa? I don't have control of the recording, so I can't really show anymore. To wait and see if she comes back. You back, Melissa? I don't know, Susie. I'm thinking we must have it. She must have an internet problem. I don't know.
Okay, now
Are you back?
I'm back. I had to switch my Wi-Fi. The internet went down.
Okay. I figured that was it. And Susie said she could still harm me, but I said it didn't do me any good. I can't. I don't have control.
Yep. Okay. I'm back. In his
Okay.
book, No Problem, Chris Beatty says the biggest thing separating people from their artistic ambition is not a lack of talent, it's the lack of a deadline. Give someone an enormous task, a supportive community, and friendly yet firm due date, and miracles will happen.
And that was his thought when he started National Novel Writing Month, was that if they decided they were going to try to do 50,000 words in the month. I don't think they originally started in November, but
No, I think they started in July.
yeah, I was July or April or something like that. And then they decided to move to November because I think their weather for them is nastier in November. Something like that, but I would never have picked November.
It started in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. This year it would be full of smoke. But anyway, it is true. And even for what we have going on in November, those of us who are really challenged will make the 50,000 words. And shoot, we've had a few that made well over 100,000 words.
And I know from experience otherwise, it may take me months to do something, but if I book my editor, I will get done in time.
Yeah. And that's kind of generally what people say. Even some of them, I think even in the book I'm reading now, where he says if it's something was due, he had a date, he had to have something in, he maybe sit down the night before and do it. But he would get it done. So here he is, Chris Beatty. That first year I started with neither plot nor characters, and I ended up with a reasonably accomplished novel that had tension and momentum and even a subplot or two. And I did all that with an imagination the size of a pea.
Once you started, a lot of times they will take off without you.
That's right. And those of us who've done this together here in our Yuma County group know that. Yeah, Susie says that was me, is that will happen, is that you can do it.
Yep. And writing is like driving at night in the fog. You can only see as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. That's kind of how I write, with no deadline. I can see this far ahead, and that's it.
Yeah, I've always liked this metaphor for writing, is that you can only see so far, but as long as you keep going, you have the headlights out in front of you, and you keep going that far.
Yep.
It's another 100 words and another 100 words, and pretty soon you've got 500 words, and then you got 1,000. So.
Yep. You can, you should, and if you're brave enough, you will.
I had a conversation this week with Pinky, and she was talking. I think she must have just read Stephen King's book. So she was saying how good it was, and I said, yeah. I said my copy goes back to, I have an advanced reader's copy, because when it first came out, Lisa was working at Barnes and Noble, and she gave me the copy that she got there in the store. And to this day, I still think it's one of the best books on writing that you can.
It's one of the best ones I've read.
Yeah, especially if you're a pantser, because Stephen King is. Yep. And so when you read what he tells you to do, but even if you're not, he has a lot of stuff in there about the tools you need, like good grammar and those kind of things as well.
Yeah. So it's.
And he encourages you, if there are people out there that think, oh, I've got to have a good plot. Well, what does he say? No, you don't really need to,
Yeah.
Which is what Chris Beatty says as well. You don't, you just need that idea. And Stephen King always talks about putting characters together and then letting them loose, but maybe it's just an idea you have. Maybe it's maybe it's a world you're building in your mind. I mean, I could see people that do fantasy and science fiction that they might be thinking about this world, and they start from there.
Or start with a language that you have to build a background for.
Yeah, yes, that would be a way to do it too. So yeah, just whatever it is. And sometimes I think it's just a kernel. It might just be one single little idea, and all of a sudden you're
Whatever that one element is for you, go with it.
go with it. And then the rest of and maybe that idea, which is kind of like a plot, will turn out not to be the main plot of the story, but it'll be what gets you started.
Yep.
You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great.
Because greatness comes with practice, and if you don't get started, you can't practice.
That's right. And what's the one we say,
The
you can't edit a blank page.
First drafts are supposed to be crappy. You can fix crappy, you can't fix non-existent.
Right.
Right, even when your world is chaotic. You don't need a cigarette, silence, music, and a comfortable chair or inner peace to write. You just need 10 minutes in a writing implement. I've done in less than 10 minutes. I got 5 minutes waiting for the kids to come out of the school, pick up the notebook. I've done it.
Well, and I figured that this quote fit really well with what we have going on right now. And, you would think, I'm hoping that more people will write this year. I think the people at National Nano Writing Month, are hoping that more people write this month because they're sitting at home, a lot of people. And, but our world is a little chaotic, and we should be able to write anyway. And who knows, that might actually cause us to give us more ideas for our story, with the stuff that's going on.
If I waited till I felt like writing, I'd never write at all. Yet we've got these 4.
And they're all by Ann Tyler, and she has a whole lot more, and she is one of my favorite writers. She's, if you haven't ever read any of her stuff, and I think probably Breathing Lessons is probably my favorite. And if I were going to tell somebody that's where to start, I would pick that one. A few of hers have been actually made into movies. The Accidental Tourist was. But her books are a little shaking out there. They're always kind of quirky family stories, they're usually kind of in people in a family and a few of the people that surround them, but they're always seems like they're a little bit strange sometimes. Matter of fact, I think I just watched the movie of Back When We Were Grown-Ups. I'm thinking it was. I found it by accident, but it was interesting. She's a good writer.
Name your inner critic, then tell him kindly to shut up.
Yep. I'm calling mine Albert, and he's going down.
I haven't thought a whole lot about my inner critic yet, but I'll get him figured out over the next week.
Well, I had to challenge myself when I was doing this, so I decided that okay, I'm going to give him a name. And so I'm calling him Albert. And here's Albert, the troll, hyped up on caffeine, ready to be my nemesis, but next week he's going down. Join us and imprison, destroy, annihilate your inner editor.
Okay. You said all hopped up on caffeine, which makes me think coffee cup, but I would have thought that was an inkwell.
Well, who knows what Albert may drink out of. Maybe he's hopped up on ink.
Yeah.
That would be more likely, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, maybe he's hopped up on caffeine, but he's using his ink to excess to edit my book.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Okay. These
And
are books written during Nano, right?
yep, these are all authors that originally wrote their books in Nano. And I think some of them still always do Nano. Just because they like the challenge, you know, they did it this first time, why they, and their books got published, and why don't they do it again? I can only say I've read The Night Circus and I've read Water for Elephants. I can't say I read any of the others, although I have heard obviously of Hugh Howey. He's quite well known. I just saw his name in the book I'm reading about. He's big on self-publishing.
He is, that was self-published, and he is huge in self-publishing.
Yeah. And Marissa Meyer, of course, that name's familiar too. Actually, Erin Morgenstein, I read a second book of hers this year, and I wouldn't know if she wrote it in Nano, but I have read a second book that she got published. The Night Circus is a lot of fun. It's oh shoot, what do I want to call it? It's magical reality, they call it.
Yep.
So it's a story that seems kind of real, but it has magic elements in it. So a little different from paranormal stuff, but
yeah,
but kind of, if you like paranormal, you can kind of like the kind of stuff that she's uses in her book. I think Alice Hoffman writes a lot of magical reality too.
Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, and last one.
Last. So now you got 1 week. Next Saturday, we will be having our kickoff, and I hope people will join us. So you got a week. Think a little bit more about what you've learned in the workshops and get prepared. And then on Sunday,
we'll get started.
Yeah, we can get started. So, thank you to everybody who's viewed our workshops online. And obviously, we thank you guys that have been here with us every week.
And we'll see you next time.
Yep.
We don't have a next time planned yet.
She says she's very motivated.